say it like that. If I hate you, then find someone new. Baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a pill. Oh yeah. Take you like a pill. Fill you like a pill to get my fill. No, no, do me in the worst way. Don't let me sleep, never say sorry. Oh, maybe I'll leave, baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a pill.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another amazing night here at the Rose League. I'm your play-by-play for the evening, Captain Jack, joined by Platinum Thistle in the color role this evening. How you doing tonight, Platinum?
Good and excited, Captain Jack. I'm fucking pumped.
Exactly. CGC Sunstone versus Burning Blossoms this evening in our Diamond Division quarterfinals. We actually had to delay this match a little bit. They were having some difficulty figuring out a night that worked for them. So they're going to go ahead and play each other tonight. And then hopefully later this week, the winner of tonight's game will end up finding themselves against the current number 1 seed for Conference 2, the Pachamari Ninjas. So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you know about the teams, Platinum, since I know you've been studying.
Well, CGC Sunrise right now is at a 9-1. Sunstone. Sorry, I can't read my own handwriting.
It's all right.
CGC Sunstone is at 9-1 right now, so they've only lost once, which is to our 10-0 team Pachamari Ninjas, who are at the top of the roster right now. Burning Blossoms, however, are at 7-3, so they've lost 3 of their 10 matches so far, which puts them at a slight disadvantage going in against Sunstone. And statistically, you'd be thinking that automatically you'd be looking at CGC Sunstone as the winner of the match. And most of the time, you would be right, especially since looking back, one of the 3 losses that Burning Blossoms has suffered was during week 6, I believe, against the Sunstone. So they have already lost 3-1 against Sunstone once. So if history repeats itself, we will be seeing them win again.
All right, well, let's go ahead and see what ends up happening. Our first match this evening going to be on the control map, rather, Busan. So I am ready to go. Our host is going to go ahead and start things off as we head to Busan!
Oh, there you go. I think your mic's just completely gone. It's refused to display anything louder than whatever decibel meter you reached. You can't reach past that roof.
I love that feeling. That feeling that you get after a big long scream and it just like shudders your whole body. Oh god. But that's what they do. You know, that's what they do in that Western culture. They're all about the excitement in sports or anything. Like really, if you watch their television, like they'll scream about anything. Like you could probably say banana, and somebody's probably done that on a TV show somewhere over there.
Oh, I'm 100% certain
it's
that's
probably
happened.
the greatest television that I'd ever want to watch.
Oh yes. Watching television about people screaming about fruit is literally just the way I wake up on Saturday.
Oh. Well, let's go ahead and take a look what we got coming in here. It looks like we've got CGC technically in the defense role, but everybody's on the defense for this map. So CGC going to be coming in with the GOATS composition coupled with the Ana, as we see the triple DPS composition coming out for the Burning Blossoms. Salt Lick, the only one on tank position, taking on the Hammond with Senor Lobo, Pacifist, and Hamika on the Widow, Farah, and Sombra. And that's going to start working out quickly. Pacifist, Ore getting the double kill as they move their way into the objective. Salt Lake going to follow up on OAFM as Vega gets the DMAC onto Freestyle right there. And it looks like Burning Blossom's going to go ahead and burn up the objective with their seal and get that percentage starting in their favor.
Now, this composition run is something very, very similar to what we saw a little while ago. 2 days ago, I believe, when we saw That's Crazy face off against Thanks for Scrims. And That's Crazy notably lost. They did not do very well, but the one map they absolutely crushed on was Busan Downtown, which is this map that we're on right here, where they ran triple DPS against a GOATS composition. But now that it's been switched up, looks like Nug is going to be bringing
Nug is bringing it out, but Hamika going to start the oof battle early, take Nug out of the fight as Pacifist reses Vega. And I want to remind everyone, there are 2 people named Pacifist on this team, as Jay Mays has pointed out. So things are going to get a little confusing, and I apologize, because that's not going to change. Godless Goose, though, cleaning up the objective now as the McCree with the triple kill right there. It looks like they've swapped over to a dive-ish composition with OAFM and Fine Star on the Winston Diva now. G. Sussman and Dwarfnik still staying on the Brig Ana combo right there. Looking in the chat right now, it looks like Knight of Eurasia giving some cheers for Let's Go Blossoms as we see Sir Llama rooting on Gladiator Goosey for the side of CGC Sunstone. 28% and climbing right now as Nug gets to pick on Pacifist, but Salt Lake takes down G. Sussman. The High Noon coming out right now, but doesn't end up getting much of anything as Pacifist ends up taking down Godless Goose, who swapped over to the Genji for this fight. We see the attack coming in from Salt Lake right now, able to get the DMAC on Fine Star as Nug ends up taking down Vega in return, and we're going to see the percentage markers meet one another. Both teams at 52%, but Sunstone currently climbing their way up the percentage marker board.
And something to be looking at here is Pacifist, having just switched over to Genji, is now very, very, very much putting himself in line for a pretty good Dragon Blade coming in here with the EMP combination. And now that there's a bit of contest between Hamika and Nug, the Widowmakers are pretty much just going to be focused on each other. So whoever gets a Widowmaker picked first is going to be serious advantage.
Oh, there comes the EMP, and Nug going to take down Salt Lake first as Godless Goose ends up taking down Senor Lobo. The rest comes in for Salt Lake, but Dwarfnik taking down Vega. The blade came in a little too late, and the Diva Bomb. Oh, actually, Nug just shoots Pacifist right in the back of the head. Not even worried about the Diva Bomb right there, as they were trying to get away from that. 95, 96, resin up to that 99%, and I don't think they're going to be able to contest 100 to 52%. CGC Sunstone going to take Busan Downtown.
Now, that was a very, very interesting map because you saw that we did have Burning Blossoms doing very, very well at the beginning when they were running this triple DPS composition that they were very comfortable with. But the second CGC Sunstone saw this, they realized for themselves that yes, now that they're not going to be running GOATS, we can run GOATS, and we don't have to run GOATS either. So they're going to be running a composition that they are also very comfortable on, which is going to be very interesting to see as more combinations come up, because it looks like Blossoms has switched over to the May GOATS as well as CGC.
Yep. We're seeing snoats on each side actually, as the only difference being between OAFM and Vega, who have taken on the Zenyatta and the Ana roles for their respective teams. So it will be interesting to see, you know, Discord versus Anti-Nade is always a big thing, but Fun Sire ends up getting the tackle on Salt Lake to start things off as we see freeze rays and beams going all over the place right now. as we see Dwarfnik getting the kill on Hamika. Pacifist on the brig ends up getting followed up on as well as Senor Lobo by Nug. And that is going to allow CGC Sunstone to go ahead and take control of the objective and start that percentage climb.
Now, so far, right now, it does look to be Opham on top as the Ana. The Ana seems to be doing a little bit better than the Zenyatta, but the Maywall could change some things here.
It could, it could. Godless Goose ends up getting the pick onto Salt Lick after the tackle right there. Just trying to get out away from the Maywall. Godless Goose following up on Hamika as well as Dwarfnik ends up taking down Pacifist. And Godless Goose returning a third kill onto Senor Lobo. 31% and climbing right now for the side of CGC Sunstone, and Burning Blossoms seem to be having their flames snuffed out a little bit.
It's very disappointing, and also a very good pun as we're moving into the later half of this specific portion. No swaps have come out from Burning Blossoms. They're just going to change their route of attack here.
Oh, and it's not going to work out well for them. The Blizzard coming out from Nug, essentially allowing a majority of the team to really get cleaned up right there as we see the hard reset coming for Hamika to get back with the rest of the team. 63% and climbing right now for the Sunstones as we see Burning Blossoms still not swapping off that composition. I'm not exactly for certain what they are looking to do. It looks like they're just going to try a different route of attack once again, but the Graviton and the Maywall split the team up. The Transcendence is in. Here comes the Blizzard Shatter as well.
Or Frozen
and there
here.
it may be. That may be exactly what they need as the rally ends up getting popped out by Pacifist. Vega getting the kill on Fine Star as Nug follows up onto Vega. It looks like Nug going to get booped off by Pacifist as Salt Lick follows up onto Godless Goose. It's a 2v5 on the objective, and they're going to go for the hard reset over the side as we see Burning Blossoms finally able to grab the objective in their favor. 6% and climbing to 99%.
Now, with this May composition, the point is going to be much easier to hold than it's going to be to attack. So this might be just the advantage they needed here.
It could be possible, but Nug's also coming up on that Blizzard rather quickly. Salt Lick able to get the first pick onto Godless Goose. And here comes the beat drop from Pacifist, but the Blizzard coming out from Nug already. Doesn't seem to be getting much of anybody, though. They were able to get out just in time. The tackle came in from Fine Star, but ends up missing as Butt is able to finish up onto Pacifist at least. It's a 5v6 fight on the objective. 4v6 as Hamika falls. The Shatter! That's a fat Shatter coming in from Salt Lick right there, but ends up getting melted by Godless Goose as soon as they get back up. OAFM ends up getting the double kill on Senor Lobo and Vega as they continually try to switch the point back into Sunstone's advantage. 56% climbing as the Graviton comes out from Hamika, but ends up getting melted by OAFM. Overtime ticking away as we now see another Blizzard coming out from Senor Lobo, but it's not going to be soon enough as CGC Sunstone will take away their first map victory tonight on Busan.
Very, very dominant performance. We did see some switches going back and forth, but it seemed that once CGC Sunstone found out what worked for them, they got into the groove, they did very, very well. And you can see Nug here really deserving this play of the game. They had all 6 ultimates going into this fight and only used one to win out the fight entirely. And something you could see there was that there wasn't really any ultimates online at that point for Burning Blossoms. So the dramatic separation between the ultimate performance and overall performance between Burning Blossom and CGC Sunstone on the second half on Mecha Base there was very, very, very drastic.
That is absolutely huge indeed. If you are enjoying the action so far, go ahead and start blowing up the chat. Let us know who y'all are rooting for this evening. If this is your first time here, welcome. We are the Rose League. You're reaching us in the middle of our playoffs for the second season. Unfortunately, you've missed a lot of the action, but you can catch most of that playoffs action on our YouTube channel, which all you have to do is search for the Rose Cup, and we will explain that in future renditions, probably nearer to the end of the season, because there are a lot of big plans coming down the pike for the Rose League. So you definitely want to hit that follow button at the top of your screen so that you know when our action's going down. Even better, support our community by hitting that subscribe button. $4.99 a month, or a Twitch Prime or Amazon Prime subscription will continue to support our community. DreamDuck OW in the chat saying Salt is the worst main tank.
That's not very nice.
That's not very nice. I don't think Salt was doing bad, but I did see Salt got a couple huge shatters, which was big. Not a lot of follow-up though. So that was one problem. And the other times, I think it's just, I don't know if it's more so that Salt is getting themselves out of position, or if CGC Sunstone is literally focusing down Salt Lake, because as you know, without the main tank, you have a really hard time pushing into an objective like that. So, I mean, it could be either way. Knights of Eurasia popping it out, as well as Azar saying Blossoms.
Got a lot of love for Blossoms in the chat here.
Lots of love for the Blossoms. Mark of Age, though, saying Goose and Stones. So it looks like we've got a lot of love for the underdog this evening. Let's go ahead and see what these teams will be doing as we move into Numbani, our hybrid map for the evening. So should definitely be interesting to see.
Traveling to Numbani.
Now, we've talked about this at length a couple of times as casters, that Numbani hasn't been a map that's been picked a lot just because of its neutrality, I believe. And this I don't know if this is necessarily an analysis that everyone would agree with, but my firm belief is Numbani is probably the most neutral hybrid map concerning attack and defense, because there are so many different ways to attack on this map. There are so many different ways to defend on this map, and no team really has an advantage over the other. Like, it really just
100%.
comes down to overall skill on who really takes an objective on this map or not. What do you think there, Platinum?
Well, quite frankly, I have to agree with you there. There's very close angles for the attackers to be coming through, but they have so many different options for them to be using. They can go up left on the high ground, they can flank via low ground, or just go straight through the middle, depending on what your composition is going to provide. And maybe even go up to the top right from the attacker side if you're running a dive composition like being run here. So very, very good possibilities, especially on the first attack. The only problem is sometimes people run bunker on this, and it will end up catching up.
Well, as you say that,
yeah.
We are already seeing CGC Sunstone pulling out the bunker for the defense right there, as we see on the attack, Senior Lobo and Salt Lake coming in on the oh, Nug! Nug isn't even going to wait for them to get to the objective. They're just going to start picking off two, taking out both Pacifistas. I don't know what the plural of pacifist is, but both of them went down. Is it pacifists?
Yes.
My English is not that good.
Well, I liked your ones better, to be honest.
Pacifistes?
Pacifisti?
Pacifisti. Either way, they had to reset, and it looks like they are now going to switch over to a GOATS composition. Now, what we've noticed, though, is that Bunker isn't really like, GOATS really doesn't do well at going against Bunker either. Like, because you really got to focus down that Bastion, and as I feel like I'm seeing a replay of last night or the night before.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Whichever night that was, it happened exactly like this. Here comes the Immortality Field trying to keep everybody up. Solik gets the pick onto G-Sustin as Nug takes down Pacifist. Godless Goose still living, ends up taking down Solik, but Vega will take down Godless Goose as Opham ends up getting the kill on Amika, and Vega follows up. Gets followed up on by Nug. The res comes in for Godless Goose, and everybody is reset up, ready for another defense with 2 minutes 25 seconds on the clock. In the chat, I see Knights of Eurasia saying Salt is also on my team. If he loses, I will yell at him. So I will yell at your teammate if oh man, Nug is on fire with that Widow tonight.
Literally.
I was incredibly impressed. And I don't know if you've noticed, I mentioned this last night during the stream, but Fine Stire on the Diva. You see that new beautiful defense matrix Diva's got now?
Oh, yeah.
Like they updated the graphics, even though she got a nerf with her range, it just looks like it pops. It pops so well.
Yeah, I like the way it looks. I definitely like the way it looks. And it makes it much more noticeable for me whenever I play Zarya.
Oh, absolutely. You know exactly how much you're getting defended or how close they are to eating up your graviton.
Yeah,
Here comes
exactly.
the immortality field
another
as Nug
fantastic
gets
shot.
the pick onto the pacifies as they move into the objective. G Sussman ends up getting the kill onto Salt Lake as Godless Goose melts Vega and Opham ends up taking down Senor Lobo. Not a tick to be had on the objective and only 1 minute 10 seconds on the clock. And right now I see Salt Lake swapping over to the Winston, but I don't know what that's gonna do for them. Like really in this, and I say this all the time when it comes to bunker, you want damage and you want speed.
Yeah.
So you
Mobility
want like
and maneuverability are always
exactly.
what you want.
So you got Pacifist already on the Lucio. So you got the movement speed, and you got Diva for like big bombs and whatnot. But you also need like a Junkrat or a Reaper, somebody that can really get in there and
Oh.
stuff up. And Vega's gonna get melted by Godless Goose. Omnic on Omnic assault right there. I don't know how I feel about that. Might not be as comfortable as I thought I'd be. I'm joking, of course.
It's real steel
What the game
over
is.
again.
It's real. Oh goodness, Metal Gear Solid. It's ridiculous. Well, there's the defense matrix that ends up getting back by G Sussman and Godless Goose. The Graviton holding everyone in position, but not able to get the follow up as the tank mode now coming out for Godless Goose. Transcendence ends up getting popped by Vega. The only thing they've really got to hold them on the objective between Vega and Pacifist right now as G Sussman ends up falling to Vega. This may be what they need. Diva Bomb coming out right now for Fine Stire. Doesn't end up getting anybody as the V-Drop comes in for Pacifist. Vega and Pacifist still holding on to the objective as the Diva Bomb comes out for Senor Lobo. Doesn't end up getting much of anything. And Senor Lobo not remeching. Why aren't you remeching, Senor Lobo? Why? I don't
Baby Diva for the win!
What?
All systems checked out.
Why would... What?
I'm back.
Hey, look, it worked, okay? They took that point
I
with
get
Pilot.
that it worked, but 150 health to 600 health. Like, what? Like, maybe it was that whole, if I'm smaller, Bastion can't hit me as easily. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
you could
cannot
say that, but
believe-
also Baby Diva doesn't have this highly advanced laser grid that can shoot down incoming everything.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's just like I was really profoundly confused by how that went down, but it worked. They were able to grab objective number 1. 2 minutes on the clock right now as we see Burning Blossoms essentially in a fight for time right now, trying to get to objective number 2, because the closer they get to objective number 3, the more difficult it's going to be for them to hold on to this objective. Minefield ends up coming out for Salt Lake, ends up getting the kill on Sussman. That's a good way to start things off. As we see the pulse bomb come out for Hamika, ends up getting Godless Goose and Pacifist taking down Opham as Senor Lobo gets the kill on Nug and Salt Lake. Following up on Dwarfnik, that's going to be an objective number 2 in just about 1 minute and 5 seconds. That's going to give them another minute 30 with 2 minutes 50 seconds on the clock. It looks like Burning Blossoms just really needed to beat that bunker, and now they're heading in. Knights of Eurasia in the chat saying, Baby is better than Mech Diva, and Snappy Thy Turtle saying, dumb casters.
Okay, look.
I'm sorry,
Baby,
I did
only
not
thing-
see that coming. I'm just
The
saying.
only thing that Baby Diva has is a Nerf gun and a Coke sponsorship. With a mech, she's got like $20 million worth of everything. Okay? So, I don't want to hear it.
Oh my goodness. This is great. I'm loving this, folks. 2 minutes, 10 seconds on the clock as we see CGC Sunstone trying to take control of the objective. The rally gets popped by Pacifist as they push in. Nug coming out with
what
the
a
shatter,
shatter!
ends up getting 2, but the beat drop from the other Pacifist ends up bringing them in. as they go ahead and start taking down CGC Sunstone. Senor Lobo follows up on G Sussman as Opham ends up getting taken down by Pacifist. You know what? For a team that has 2 pacifists, they are not very pacifistic. Pacifists.
Yeah, we'll leave it with pacifistic.
Yeah, let's. I don't know what the.
These guys just make our lives difficult in every way possible.
Exactly. Graviton Coalescence coming out. But the Diva Bomb looking to save the day. 2 and 2. It's a clean exchange right now, but one ultimate for 3. There it goes with the
Baby Diva.
Solik gets the double. Baby Diva at it once again right now as Solik gets the kill onto Godless Goose. The beat drop comes in from G Sussman, trying to keep the dream alive as Fine Star is also on the objective, ends up getting G-Mech. Bypasses the Solik, takes down G Sussman. The tackle comes in 2 directions as the Graviton comes out. Fat Shatter coming in from Solik. Excuse me, cleaning up the objective along with Senor Lobo and Vega right there. The only one on the point is Opham, and that's going to take it right into objective number 3, and I believe they even had time on the clock.
Score.
Not much, but they had some.
3.
Hey, sometime is better than no time. 45 seconds based on the fact that it took them 4 minutes to get point 1. That's pretty good.
Yeah, they went from taking point 1 at the last possible second, literally with just a Zenyatta and a Lucio on the point, a 2v6ing an entire bunker comp, to taking the entire map with time to spare.
I still don't understand how that happened.
Yeah, me neither. It's incredibly confusing.
So many things have happened tonight that I just cannot fathom that these would be things that would actually win a match. But hey, go ahead.
Here's what I'm thinking. Nug, what I saw was he was just kind of standing on the ground, and he's been hitting shots really well. So he was just kind of standing on the ground and using the bouncing Lucio and Zenyatta as target practice. And something turned off in his head that didn't allow him to hit shots. So they were just allowed to stay there for way too long. And they were never actually killed, much to the point where throughout the entirety of the multiple ultimates thrown at them, Vega had Transcendence, so that was never a worry, and Lucio just couldn't be hit. And when Transcendence ran out, they had Sound Barrier, and, you know, the sound of music can apparently save people. So they were an extra 800 health on the point, which allowed for Senor Lobo's fantastic pilot Diva to come in and completely destroy the rest of the bunker comp.
I know.
So,
I am completely impressed by how this is all going down. And now we're going to see a triple DPS bunker-ish comp. The only thing that they don't have is the Batiste, which could be a killer for this. You got essentially 2 off healers. I know some people still don't say that Mercy's an off healer. I'm sorry, folks. Statistically, she's an off healer. It's just the way that it is. But, I mean, you do have Bastion that can heal themselves. You do have the health packs around the objective that help out in that way. So, I mean, it's not like they don't have it with them. And it looks like...
Aris is also one of the more, like, okay by yourself for a bit tanks with all the armor and the fortify. So I could see the composition working. It's just going to be difficult when it comes down to rotations.
Oh, I completely agree with you there. And it looks like we have a triple DPS comp coming out for the side of Sunstone as well as they look to move their way. Or sorry, make that... Nope, triple DPS. I was right on that one. I almost thought I saw a Sombra in there somewhere. Although you definitely should. I mean, I believe in the power of a Sombra. Oh no! Getting the kill on Amika, but the res is going to come in. The shield goes down once again in the backline. Senor Lobo ends up taking down Team Sussman as Pacifist follows up on to Fine Star, who was attacking the bunker there in the corner. 2 minutes, 30 seconds on the clock as Pacifist gets the kill onto Dwarfnik, but Nug also taking down Senor Lobo. So with no res on either side, we currently have Nug kind of sitting close to the objective, trying to wait for the team to get back. But I honestly, I saw that happen and should have went the other way.
Yeah.
But my belief was firm. They should have went the other way. The long way around would have kept them alive, and they definitely could have gotten back to the team. But nope, you were taking a big chance with a pocketed Bastion right there.
Yeah, that's true. And only one fight down, and there's 2 minutes more than 2 minutes off the clock.
And that's what Bunker does. It wastes time. That's literally all it does. Because right now they're really trying to figure out how they're going to shut this down. And it might be possible. The Mirage
Like
coming in.
That's how
After
they do it.
Perez ends up taking down Salt Lake. And with a minute 40 seconds on the clock, a team kill will ring loud and proud. And the objective will be taken by CGC Sunstone, giving them 3 or 4 minutes rather on the clock, as they go ahead and swap their comp over for a more payload-friendly composition.
They're going to be keeping just about everything. The only thing they're... two things they're changing. They're changing 33% of their composition. Salt Lake switching from the Orisa, Reinhardt and Hamika switching over from the Bastion to the Zarya. So Reinhardt, Zarya now been swapped in for the Bastion and Orisa composition. So it's going to be interesting to see, especially since Pacifist now has that barrage.
Ooh,
Probably gonna
Nug coming out on the Sombra. Nug must have been awkwardly unlistening to me somewhere. Or that was the plan all along. Getting that Sombra into the backline right there can be incredibly detrimental to any good team composition, as Nug already getting the kill onto Vega as Salt Lake takes down Swervnik in return. Godless Goose ends up taking down Salt Lake and Pacifist right there, but the Molten Core comes out from Senor Lobo, trying to keep them off the objective. Hamika will take down Godless Goose, but Fine Star and Nug will follow up on Vega and Hamika right there. 2 minutes, 50 seconds on the clock as Opum and Nug take down Pacifist and Senor Lobo. The only thing left is the Torb turret to defend for Senor Lobo, and that's going to get taken out rather quickly by the Jesus Man.
I'm sorry, but Pacifist, that was just not a good barrage there. Unless you're trying to throw it in and then switch, which, well, yeah, it looks like that's what he's going to do. But
Yep.
genuinely, Transcendence, and about 2 seconds afterwards, you barrage straight into the Transcendence. So now that they're switching, I can understand. So I
Yeah.
completely ignore everything I just said.
But with the Transcendence, though, Transcendence doesn't block explosive damage as much as everything else. So, I mean, there isn't... Oh, man. Oh, this is dirty. 6-man EMP and the cleanup coming from CGC Sunstone. That's going to ring another team kill in their favor. 3 minutes, 25 seconds on the clock as they move right into objective number 3.
They're going to have to hurry out here to be able to contest this.
And
Grab the door.
that's why they split it up. The Shatter came out, ended up taking down Fine Star, along with the Transcendence. Now a return trans and B-drop from Opum and G Sussman as the hack comes on to Salt Lake. Fine Star gets the tactical on Vega as the Shatter comes down from Fine Star. Godless Goose able to take down Salt Lake as Senor Lobo follows up on G Sussman, but it is showing up blue in the kill feed right now with Dwarfnik and Fine Star cleaning up the objective. The only two
Another
left are
EMP.
Vega and Pacifist, and that EMP gonna shut everything down and move them straight into objective number 2, or objective number 3 rather, with just about 2 minutes on the clock. 3 minutes on the clock, exactly, actually.
So what had happened there is they finished with 2 minutes 45, and Burning Blossom finished with 45 seconds. So they added both of them 15 seconds just so that Burning Blossom could get to the full minute.
Interesting.
So whenever there's a map type like this and you finish in under a minute, they will add however much time to your clock to make it a minute, and then add the same amount to your opponent's clock.
Interesting. I thought it used to be that it was like that if you were under a minute, you get a full minute. Has that changed? Like, was that one of the recent changes, or has it always been that way and I just never noticed?
Well, I'm not quite sure I understand what you're saying. That's pretty much exactly
because I know on the assault map they recently changed how like the times work on the assault map. So I don't know if that was, is that something that was recently changed, or is that something that's kind of always been and I just haven't noticed?
Oh no! If you take objective 3 in under a minute and your opponents take it as well, then they will add however much time to your time bank to make it a minute. I think if you take it in overtime, though, that in hybrid, you don't get a chance to attack again. The opposing team.
Not if they get over a minute. If they get under a minute, then you get the full minute. Okay, that makes sense then. All right, a minute on the clock for Burning Blossoms to figure out how they're going to beat the bunker comp that stumped them for 4 full minutes. They're trying to move their way in and really figure out how they're going to make it happen. Hamika ends up taking down Nug to start things off, but the res comes in from Dwarfnik to get them back into the fight. As we see the slam coming down for Salt Lick, is Ore down to 30 seconds. Nobody able to touch the objective just yet. We've got Hamika really trying to get pop shots into that as we see the slam come down from Salt Lick, trying to get off the objective if at all possible. As we see Nug end up taking down Vega, Fine Star following up on Senor Lobo as the tank mode coming out right now for Godless Goose, ends up shooting Pacifist right out of the sky. Opum following up on the other Pacifist as G Sussman ends up taking down Salt Lake. Overtime ticking away right now as the Implementation Matrix comes out, and Hamika ends up gets taken down by Nug. Not a single tick to be had, but
3-3.
it did take them about 2.5 minutes to get onto objective number 1 themselves.
It's going to be a close one. There's a possibility of a tie here for sure.
There's a possibility of a tie, which will be the first that we've seen in the playoffs thus far. So
that's true. And I would have thought it would have been on an assault map or /2CB. I would have never thought it would have been on a high.
But it rarely happens, but you will definitely see it, especially if both teams get to that third objective and have time to spare. Like, you'll see it on this first objective. Not usually the first time around, but definitely the second time. You'll see it where it comes down to the wire. But again, they have 3 minutes on the clock, and it looks like they're going with the same bunker, except for Vega definitely coming out with the Batiste this time. They need that Batiste for this bunker composition to keep it going.
Definitely.
That is just not something that you can get away with now. Like before, bunker was that. But with Batiste, you cannot do a good bunker without having that immortality field.
Definitely, and you saw that whenever Hamika got picked off and they had to invest the res into him, it was always because Vega, it was always because Salt Lick did not have a shield up and there was just not enough time. And because Baptiste can provide enough healing by himself, Pacifist can now go over and help out Pacifist. So the Pharmacy is a more peaceful one than we're used to.
Exactly.
But it should still work.
All right, well, they're getting into the action already. A minute off the clock, maybe that 40 seconds.
There they go!
But there goes Godless Goose and G Sussman and Fine Star taking down the bunker already as they go to try to meet on the objective. Salt Lake takes down Nug, but Pacifist gets taken down by G Sussman as Fine Star ends up taking down Salt Lake. Here comes
Baby
the
Diva wins it all!
Your Lobo trying to pull off that Baby Diva 1-on-6, but not going to end up being successful. Hamika and Pacifist just barely able to touch the objective, but to no avail as CGC Sunstone ends up taking map number 2 here.
Chad, you lied to us.
What?
They lied to us. They were talking about how good Baby Diva was. She didn't last 2 seconds.
I know, right? they're like stupid casters. No, we know better. They just got really lucky that time.
That was super lucky.
And what about right there? What about right there? Why didn't that Baby Diva kill Reinhardt?
Exactly.
What happened right
Only one good reason why the Baby Diva didn't kill Reinhardt.
We're just joking with you folks. We know that we're all playing here. But right now, CGC Sunstone has their sights set on the semifinals. They're ready for that rematch against themselves and Pachamari Ninjas. Burning Blossoms seem to be finding themselves fluttering. I guess the question is, after the half, will Burning Blossoms reignite, or will CGC Sunstone snuff them out to make their way into the semifinals? We'll find out more in the next 5 minutes when the Rose League returns. Stick around.
Oh, you make me wanna talk back to you. Say it like that. If I hate you, then find someone new. Baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a pill. Oh yeah. Take you like a pill. Fill you like a pill to get my fill. No, do me in the worst way. Don't let me sleep, never say you're sorry. Oh, maybe I'll leave, baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a pill. Oh yeah. Take you like a pill. Fill you like a pill to get my fill. No, do me in the worst way.
ain't hit you back and now you overreacting. Hate that shit with a passion. Yeah. Have a little self-respect, don't wanna put you on blast, but you should go ahead and practice. Shut the fuck up right now and let me breathe.
Them that we were ready. Gotcha. All right, start us back up. Welcome back, everyone, to the Rose League quarterfinals between CGC Sunstone and Burning Blossoms. We're hoping you enjoyed your break, as we are now back to see whether or not Burning Blossoms have found the fires to reignite the flames in those blossoms, to see if they can go ahead and take the reverse sweep this evening, or at least take us to a map 5. Because
I would love to see a map 5 in the finals.
I would love to see a map 5. We saw a map 5 last night, and I thank you that if we get to a map 5 tonight, I will not be completely exhausted for casting the whole match by myself.
Oh, there you go.
It is nice to breathe every now and again. So people tell me, and my body.
Yeah, solo casting is not fun.
But anyways,
and I'm out.
This is the match that will determine whether or not Burning Blossoms will be able to continue competing for the semifinal spot right now. If CGC Sunstone walks away with this match, we are dunzos. This match is over. So go ahead and start popping off in the chat. Do you want to see the reverse sweep, or do you just are you just done with Overwatch tonight? And you're just like, I just want to see Sunstone win so I can go about my own thing.
I'm gonna go play Paladins.
Yeah. Heroes of the Storm, whatever.
Yeah. There is the bunker comp though again, which is gonna be very difficult, but we do have the teleportation.
Oh yeah, teleporters. That's exactly what we need right here. Pacifist ends up getting the pick onto Dwarfnik. That's a really good start. If you don't have the, what's it called? The reses in there, that's gonna make it really difficult to keep everybody up on the objective. Azar in the chat saying 6 DPS. Let's go. No, that is not the answer for this question. And they're already on the objective, but because the bunker comp did not reset its position, they're going to have a hard time taking control of that. Oh no, Godless Goose just shooting through the window.
Oh boy.
That's actually really smart. Like, they use some players to contest on the objective, and then they just shoot in through the window.
All I heard was just Salt just waving his hammer about and smacking the bell over and over and over again.
Ding, ding, ding.
It's all about the marriage between Bastion and that headshot.
Woo! Nug getting nugged right there by Vega. That is not a good way to start this off. They're teleporting straight to the objective. They're not going to try for that roundabout, but the double kill comes in from Nug in return to how that went down. Pacifist ends up finding their way onto the objective as well, as they are already starting the percentage climb. The only one on the objective right now is Pacifist, as they get booped off by Fine Stars Mech. That's going to go ahead and reset everybody as they go ahead and look to get that objective with 2 minutes on the clock. Now, a reminder, because with the new setup, and actually this is something that we should have talked about before now, this might be something we'll have to question next time around during Season 3, but when a change is made, like what was made in the most recent update, there is a minute less on the clock for Objective 2 now, as Nug ends up getting the pick onto Vega to start things off, and the DMAC comes on to Senor Lobo from G Sussman. They're going to move their way onto the high ground, or attempt to, as the tackle comes in from Salt Lake, ends up getting melted by Godless Goose, just getting shot in the back right there, as well as Hamika. The only one left on the objective right there is Pacifist, and is going to get melted as well, as we see Senor Lobo go over the edge for that hard reset. But as I was saying, with the recent change to this map, wouldn't you say it kind of leaves teams that have played in these matches already kind of at a disadvantage, having that extra minute off the clock for the second point?
I wouldn't say so, simply because both teams are awarded the same advantage or disadvantage. It's just a slightly different way of playing the game.
I guess. All right, well, they're going straight up. The Shatter,
good Shatter.
comes in. They take down Godless Goose, but Opham ends up getting Salt Lick. Not going to see any follow-up come in on that Shatter, and that's going to be a complete reset. 30 seconds on the clock, and CGC Sunstone is really looking to smack this triple win in the column for them for this match.
Definitely, and as they're moving in here, they're switched to this dive combination. No Symmetra this time. We're going to be seeing how that gets him. No Graviton Surge.
There comes the Diva Bomb from Senor. Oh, not from Senor, from Fine Sire. Doesn't end up getting anything. No time left on the clock as Godless Goose now in tank mode ends up
This
getting
is where they thrive.
reset up on off the objective right there as the Diva
There's the
Bomb
bomb.
comes out for Senor Lobo.
It's
and
Opham.
taking down Opham. That may be exactly what they need. The Immortality Field keeping everyone up as the rest comes in for Opham. First tick on the objective right now. The stream is blowing
popping
up.
off.
Go
Nug's
Blossom.
popping
Go
off.
Blossoms. The Senor Lobo gets the kill onto G Sussman, Nug, and Godless Goose again with the tank mode.
Oh, Salt Lick loves himself off the side.
Themselves off the side with the Primal. Is 2 on 2 on the objective. Hamika cleaning it up with the big old laser. That laser gun that they got going on. Here comes the... Oh, there's this. There it is. As Pacific takes down Dwarfnik. Overtime continuing to tick away as the bongos get popped out by Opham. The team returning to the objective right now. Spin to win.
Spin to win.
From Senor Lobo. This may be what they need. And in overtime, we will see Burning Blossoms hold on by the skin of their teeth. The fire is ignited, and they are heading into objective 2 with 3 minutes on the clock.
That's absolutely insane. That's the
That
second
was-
match in a row that they've jumped. That they've
I
taken
know.
time.
And maybe that's the kind of team they are. There are some teams that they're just like that very last oomph, you know?
Perform
that's how
best
they...
under extreme pressure kind of thing.
Exactly, and that extreme pressure comes in overtime.
Exactly. There's the May wall to block them off.
Oh, they got that May going up again as Fine Sarah comes in for the tackle, ends up getting separated by the team, but is able to get back. Here comes
Oh,
the
double fire strike!
with the fire strike, and Senor Lobo ends up taking down Dwarfnik, Nug, and Godless Goose fall to pass the fives, and the only one left is
It's a
Opham
team kill.
on the Ana. Gonna get taken down by Senor Lobo. That's a team kill. 1 tick, 2 ticks, almost 3 ticks. So close.
Can they take it? Can they take it?
They gotta get those picks. They gotta keep getting those picks in their favor right now. They gotta get that May off the objective, and Salt Lake working furiously at that wall. Takes Snug down. The only one left near the objective is Godless Goose, and we have
what a
the
shatter!
coming in, looking to clean up. Salt Lake takes down Godless Goose.
Oh
and
my
they got it
gosh!
with over a minute on the clock.
Sunstone had the May.
Wow.
But Blossoms were the one who performed a snowball.
Oh man. Oh, I am hot. I am hot over here. 1:43 seconds on the clock. Burning Blossoms by the skin of their teeth. Just holding on and taking objective 1 and 2 in a very furious manner.
This
I
latest
am,
patch was supposed to stop snowballs, and that's the most unlikely
No,
snowball
it did
I've ever
not.
seen in my entire
No,
life.
it did not.
That was insane. And quite frankly, I'm very impressed.
And you gotta admit that it wasn't like, I guess it wouldn't be considered that much of a snowball that we're used to,
Right.
because the first attack was a little bit slower than your normal snowball, and
Yeah.
and it should be, because they saw that they had I believe it was Nug on the May, and you want to
Yeah.
watch out for that. But they played it out very strategically, and the first fight was the only fight they needed to be able to get in there. And as the chat catches up with us, they're like, heck yeah! Oh, Blossoms!
Got a couple
They're
pog
just-
champs in
Oh,
here.
they're going poggers right now in the chat. They are so glad to see that Blossoms are still holding on, but the game ain't over yet. They now have a 4-minute hold on objective 1. Let's see if the Blossoms can hold it on. They do have the Snoats composition for this fight, as we see the 2-2-2 come out for the side of CGC Sunstone. Looks like we're going to see Finestar and G Sussman on the Hammond Diva composition with Nug on that Sombra, looking to get into the back line if at all possible. And that EMP has been pretty deadly.
That mobility was pretty decent when it came to fighting against a Maywall. But as you can see, they've moved back and switched over to a 2-2-2. Oh, wait.
No.
Switching a couple things up.
Over, up, and over, up, and over.
Looks like they finally settled on a composition.
It looks like they're still going trip DPS, but they're going to use Finestar as the Rhine this time around and see if they can essentially outdo Goat with a single shield.
This is going to be pretty difficult, especially with the hacks coming in.
The Dream Duck saying it ain't over till it's over as Finestar getting the pick already on to Pacifist, but Pacifist in return getting the kill on Dwarfnik as Saltlick takes down G Sussman, Godless Goose, and Nug take down Pacifist and Senor Lobo, but Saltlick and Vega follow up on Opham and Finestar. The only ones left are Nug and Godless Goose on the objective as Hamika ends up taking down Godless, and Nug is probably going to end up... it looked like they were trying. It looks like they forgot that their translocator was not set up. It looks like they were trying to get back to wherever they were going, and they were like, "Oh, I'll just translocate on top of their head. That's cool."
The EMP is ready though, so them staying around was
that's not a good position to be in. And the team, and the bad part about objectives like this is that you got to be grouped up. Like you got to be on the objective and grouped up. So I'm wondering kind of how they plan to deal with this Sombra right now, knowing that they're probably going to get EMP'd here in a second. Nug placing out the translocator ready this time.
Their only hope is Vega's fast trigger finger.
Oh, there comes the shatter. Here comes the cleanup onto Finestar as they get the kill onto Pacifist in return. Opham taking down Senor Lobo with the rockets. Here comes the barrage, but the trans comes out, ends up trying to save the day, but it's not going to be enough. Transcendence does not protect against the barrage, folks. I hate to say it, it's just not possible. With a minute and 25 seconds on the clock, we're going to end up seeing CGC Sunstone go ahead and take objective number 1 in their favor, giving them 4 minutes and 15 seconds to get objective number 2.
This is true, but something to be looking at here is they have 2 ultimates versus what's probably going to be coming up to the 3 ultimates for the side of Burning Blossoms.
That's
so
true.
That they've also got the defense advantage when it comes to the May, so they have a good chance of holding this for at least a little bit longer, and that should set them up for a pretty good points 3 and 4 if they have to go there.
It is and it isn't though, because one thing that I have been noticing throughout the fights is Senor Lobo been getting picked off fairly early in all of these fights. So if you don't have that May to really defend on the point as the distracted May, that's going to make it really difficult. But here comes the freeze, looking to get Finestar on the Hammond right there in the corner, but it looks like they're gonna end up being unsuccessful. The stun comes in and the freeze once again as they finally able to take down Finestar, and Dwarfnik ends up falling to Saltlick right there. 3 minutes, 10 seconds on the clock, and not a tick to be had on objective number 2.
Now, they've been taking these fights in a very risky manner. They've been drawing them out, and while that is a bit risky, it's also exactly what they want to be doing here, simply because it will run the time bank out really, really well.
Yes, it will wear out the time bank because the team ideally would like to wait until everyone is all together. Here comes the Blizzard out from Senor Lobo, but it doesn't. Oh, it does end up freezing the Mercy. Pacifist able to take down Dwarfnik as the other Pacifist takes down Finestar. The hack comes in onto Pacifist, who will be trying to chase down Nug, but will end up being almost got him. Almost got him.
So
that
close.
Sliver of health right there. Speaking of which, producer, would you mind turning on the health bars for our players? I forgot about that. We were talking about that last night. Apparently that's a thing that Overwatch does, but I'm always watching the top of our screens, which is where all the health bars are when you play anyway. So, can't do it in the middle of the game. All right, no worries. Thank you
We'll
so
just do it
much.
for round 4, which will most
Yeah,
certainly.
Oh, EMP!
Oh!
That's a 4-man with the barrage coming in from Godless Goose. Ends up getting Soul Lick, but Soul Lick gets Nug in return as Pacifist takes down Godless Goose. The minefield on the high ground, I'm guessing they were trying to catch that a little earlier, but the Transcendence Graviton gonna hold everything in place as they go ahead and clean up the objective now under the time bank of the Burning Blossoms. CGC Sunstone is in a very difficult position right now.
They've got that's true, but they've got ultimates to work with where Burning Blossom doesn't really have any. We've got the Primal Rage, which is going to be really good if they ever try and push high ground left side, but not good. But not really good for anything other than that because they've got Nug now on the Reaper. The stalling from Salt Lake, if he's just out there by himself stalling, it's not going to be doing much good. It's going to be melted really, really fast. It will allow him to escape from the Reaper, probably, so maybe a second chance if he hasn't seen that they have a Reaper. But a lot of things to be considering here moving into this next fight. Most of all is going to be this main tank lineup.
It is true. Let's go ahead and see if they can make it happen. Here comes Nug onto the high ground. Ends up just charging up Hamika right now as they're moving their way in. We're going to see the jump in. Oh, Senor Lobo ends up taking down the Godless Goose as we still see Nug on the high ground trying to take down anyone and everyone. Soul Lick getting the primal kill on the Opum right there as the Valkyrie gets wasted as Pacifist gets the final hit onto that. The Transcendence gets popped out by G. Sussman with only 10 seconds left on the clock. They probably should have held on to that just a little bit longer. As we see Nug finally able to get a kill, but Hamika ends up melting G. Sussman and Nug. Soul Lick taking down Godless Goose as the Transcendence comes out. The only one left near the point is Opum and gets taken down by the punch of Senor Lobo. Overtime ticking away, and it looked like we were seeing a Mercy trying to get over to the objective, but unable to do so. Burning Blossoms not out of the fight yet. Getting their first win this evening. The reverse sweep is looking ever more possible. And Pacifist with that Brigette flail, not to be confused with Pacifist on the Lucio, who is also doing an incredible job.
Yes, both of them using the AoE off heroes.
And it was just beautifully coordinated, as Dream Dunk said in the chat. Just the whole team working together. That bunker is good, but it's not always exactly what you need. So let's go ahead and see what our next map is going to be. Now with things kind of swapped over, what do you think we're going to end up seeing going into our next match there, Platinum?
Well, we've just seen Hanamura, which is our 2CP map. We've seen Eichenwald. We've seen Numbani, not Eichenwald, and we've seen Busan. So that is just leaving us with the Junkertown versus or Dorado.
Dorado.
Choice. And we will be seeing Dorado be pulled out here from Sunstone. And that's something that's...
Nope, that's not allowed. Can't do that, folks. Sorry. They're asking if they can go on the defense for this map. Burning Blossoms is. And we can't do that. That's not the way that it goes down. Sorry, folks. And it's not anything against anyone. It's just because of the way that the system is set up. That was kind of the deal. What do you mean? I don't know for the streams. Okay. I'm not for certain what the deal is. What was the deal? Nobody informed us of a deal.
Yeah, if there's a deal going down and I was not paid, then
This is not deal or no deal. Okay, it looks like we're gonna have to take a look into the Constitution to see if there is a rule for this, if it's requested, if they can take the opposite side. I mean, I won't say that it's wrong until I read it, but we haven't done it. So
yeah,
let's go ahead and
I was very explicitly told by Matt, the person that runs the Rose League, that this was that we keep the roles, especially when they're being streamed.
Yeah, because we would have to swap everything on the stream as well. Let me go ahead and look in match format. Here we go, match rules. Chat rules, spectator rules. Swap in registered subs or ringers.
Traveling
Yeah,
to
I'm not
Ohio.
seeing anything in here about.
Initiating match.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything in here about that. So I'm not for certain what the deal was. The only rule that we have is the one that we follow all the time is in is section 9 subsection D. The losing team of the previous map decides the next map. That's it. That's literally how it goes down. And the way that the defense is set up is usually whoever is the higher set gets the defense. So I know that that's kind of weird, I guess, but it does allow the underdog to kind of set the speed of the attack, so to speak. So not for certain what that was all about. Hopefully we've got that resolved. Hopefully we won't be having any issues going forward. Yeah, I mean that's what we read. So just catching up with the conversation. So I'm sorry, Vega, not for certain what deal was agreed to in the backline, but it has to be agreed to by the ref as well. That's the whole reason we got one in the playoffs. So let's go ahead and see.
2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Let's go ahead and see what will happen as they go ahead and go in. It looks like they're trying to do. Ooh, they're going Snoats.
Nice,
and they're
Maywall.
being cheeky. And they're being cheeky. But it's not going to be good enough. They're not able to stay close enough to it. Oh, Fine Star able to get the first kill onto Salt Lick. Due to that Maywall setup, they're trying to move their way through the objective as Pacifist ends up getting taken down by Fine Star as well. It looks like that comp is not going to work out for them as the payload is already quite far past the doorway right there. They're still trying. It looks like they're still trying to hold on to it to a degree, but there's an answer to this. It's the answer to goats. It's just damage. I want to see some Junkrat. I want to see some Junkrat. Let's see some Junkrat.
Oh boy.
Ooh, that's a first. I've never seen him come out when there's not a Junkertown map. Oh, this must be very passionate for Junkrat to come out at a time like this. 2 minutes, 50 seconds on the clock, and they are stalling out the time bank right now with the Snoats composition in the room. And there's really nothing much to cast on until that changes. The Nano coming in onto Fine Star, ends up getting taken down by Pacifist. That's a Graviton holding everyone in place, but the Maywall keeps them up. Pacifist and Amika getting kills. Sollick taking down Opham. This is exactly what they need. A supercharged Godless Goose falls to Sollick, and that is it. They are moving their way through right there.
Definitely, and as we're moving in through here, it's something just to be noted is the ultimate charge difference going between the two.
Okay,
Here comes the bomb.
Senor Lobo ends up taking down G Sussman right there with the Diva Bomb. It's a 5v6 fight on the objective right now as Pacifist takes down Opham right there. Godless Goose and Nug following up on Pacifist and Senor Lobo as they go ahead and push them back. Here comes the Shatter. Ends up getting the picks. Or doesn't end up getting the picks, rather, onto CGC as Godless Goose ends up taking down Salt Lick, coming back with that Goats composition.
Okay,
I'm just following your conversation right there, just to make sure. It looks like that's sticking. I just want to make sure if we do have any admins following the stream this evening, if you could go ahead and verify those rules for us. That is only a pick of attack or defense for the low seed on the first map. And then that's how it stays throughout the entire course of the match. That is what I've assumed. It is not written though, so I cannot make an assumption since it is not technically written. So 40 seconds on the clock right now as we go ahead and see the objective being completely held right now by the Graviton Blizzard coming down. The Shatter comes down in reverse, but Pacifist, Kamika, Solik, and Senor Lobo are going to fall as CGC Sunstone go ahead and set up the team kill in their favor. 15 seconds on the clock as now we've got Burning Blossoms pushing their way back into the objective with only 10 seconds on the clock. They do look like they will have an ultimate advantage of a sort as the beat drop, Rally, and Graviton come out for either side.
Oh, what a shatter!
The shatter ends up landing for Salt Lick. Pacifist and Soul
Don't
Lake.
tell me they get this in overtime again.
They're going to do it again. Here it comes. Vega taking down Godless Goose and G. Sussman also falling to Vega. Team kill going to the first time for the Burning Blossoms in overtime. They will grab objective number 1, giving them 2 minutes, 30 seconds to grab objective number 2.
This is absolutely crazy.
This is. Can you go ahead and fill for a second? Just want to get this out to our admins to make sure they're paying attention.
Sure, we have on the bottom right there coming straight through the choke. Burning Blossoms just escorting the payload straight through along to right underneath the high ground where GCG is going to be taking along the taking the high ground, trying to get a little bit more poke damage in before they're going to be jumping down. Firestar's shield dropping very, very low, so he's going to have to take the pressure off a little bit. D-Matrix is running out, so their push is going now. Graviton Surge gets thrown in as soon as that D-Matrix goes down. Transcendence is there, so nothing gets through completely. Diva Bomb goes all the way up. Let's see if it gets anything. Gets 2! Senor Lobo getting the double kill there, along with Salt Lick comboing for the triple. So space was made, and 4 kills now racked up on the board. Godless Goose and Ovum having to retreat back a little bit just to avoid the stagger. It looks like Ovum's not going to avoid the stagger. Stoltlick getting that second kill onto Godless Goose. And it looks like as we're moving in here, we will be seeing way more pressure be put on. Vega is going to be riding the cart just to keep it some company, moving along forward. Nug just about ready to come to the back line to do a little bit of congestion, just to make sure that they can get to it. No, but it's not touched in time. Vega drops super low, and 6 are caught in the EMP. Vega hacked up again. Super unfortunate, but the rest of the team caught up in it as well. Pacifist on break dropping insanely low, and eventually both will fall. Senor Lobo having to back off there just to avoid the stagger.
All right, I'm back. Just making sure the right people are in. It looks like we've gotten to objective number 2 with 2 minutes on the clock. And it looks like that EMP came in and stalled out the payload right there for the Burning Blossoms. But I gotta say, they're further than they were if they would have got stalled out completely on objective 1. Senor Lobo ends up getting hacked right there. As we see Rin in the chat saying, good trans. Apparently we have an auto mod setting now. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I see that. We'll let it go. That's not a big deal for so much for anything else, as we've already had some of those this evening. 1 minute, 15 seconds on the clock as they move into objective number 3. Salt Lake and the rest of the team clearing the objective for the payload to move their way in. This is the final fight. CGC Sunstone has to lock it down right here, or the Diva Bomb coming out. Shatter comes out, but gets 2. This might be exactly what they need. As the EMP comes out, there's not a lot of follow-up as the B-Drop comes in after the EMP from Pacifist. They're going to go ahead and hold on to the objective.
Double
the Shatter coming out from Salt Lake allows them to clean up the objective as, they canceled. Oh, no, they didn't cancel. He wasn't able to pop it off in time. Godless Goose ends up getting taken down by a pacifist as Nug ends up getting DMAC'd and taken down by Hamika. They will hold a forward position, and with about a minute on the clock, Burning Blossoms finding that fire under their bums, man. I don't know what it is about this team and that first objective, but they've got 31 seconds on the clock, and their skill is really showing right now.
Definitely, definitely. And what are you confused about, Mr. Prod?
the producer is just as confused as we are. They're like, how are you doing this? But I mean, there are some teams that are like that though. When the pressure is on, the focus is real. You know, this is like Super Saiyan form number 20 in frickin' Dragon Ball Z, you know, for Goku. Goku's like getting the crap beat out of him, and like nothing he says is working, but that little spark just comes up and he's just like, ah! His hair gets really big and on fire, and then just comes back and kicks everybody's butt. So
I want to see a post-match interview with all of these guys with massive blonde hair.
Oh my! It might be white. That's probably how big it's gotten. To be completely honest, it's gone from like what are the levels? It's like yellow to blue to like white or something like that. This is just ridiculous, man. But hey, Burning Blossoms are showing how badly they want to be in the finals, and I don't blame them. So
absolutely.
Let's see if they
Great
can
job
pull
here.
off the defense. Let's see if we got some defense.
Pretty standard goes from both sides, except Sunstone is going to be running that junk rat.
Oh, Nugs on the junk. We got to some junk rats, folks.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. But will that be enough? The tackle comes in from Solik, ends up missing. Nobody in his sights for that tackle. Was looking to get Finestar out of position. Solik in the fire strike T-Mac. G Sussman right there as both shields looking to find their way down. See, I like this. Oh!
What a pin!
Pacifist gets picked out as the shatter. The shatter comes down from Feinstein, and that's going to clean up the objective. 3 minutes, 15 seconds on the clock, and they're going to start making their way to the choke point of objective number 1.
You know, I just got the Lego set for this map, and it's really quite nice, and it's very much holding up to exactly exactly how it looks. It's sitting right beside me, and it's very beautiful.
Should we have you do replays for this match, like Lego style? Just
be
like,
yes,
okay,
100%.
Here is CGC Sunstone moving the payload through the route.
just analysts, be the analyst for the map, post-production, like halftime analyst. Just do the whole thing in Lego because we can't afford the graphics.
Diva Bomb going up, check!
Oh, fights
there's the double! Lobo shutting it down with help from Salt Lick right there. Gonna go ahead and retake the objective in favor of the Burning Blossoms as they go ahead and push everyone back to spawn for CGC Sunstone. 2 minutes, 20 seconds on the clock.
There's got to be at least a little bit of like emotional just tiredness, and like the feeling of kind of wanting to give up here from Sunstone. They're doing so well. They've already beat this team before, so what should be the difference here? Why couldn't they do it again?
Because that was week 1, and this is like week 13. That's why. And it is Ultimate City. Who's gonna pass you harder? Who's it gonna be? Nobody's going down yet. It's all the cues right there. That shatter coming in from Salt Lick, and that might be exactly what it needs to be as they get the double kill, triple kill, moving into the back line. The D-Mech onto G Sussman, and that's gonna shut down that push. Both teams feeding every ultimate they had online, but it all came down to the Salt Lick Salty Shatter.
Very, very nice job. We do have the Diva Bomb online for Senior Lobo, though, so that's something to be looking at. So just about one ultimate online for both teams. Probably going to see both Shatters come online. Obviously, Finestar a little bit earlier, but you know how Reinhardt's are. One good fire strike can get them 50% of their ultimate charge. So
pretty much.
We'll be seeing that go through here, seeing if we can get something. Finestar already has that shatter up, and Solik is almost there. So this next fight's going to be absolutely crucial, especially if they want to take this out before overtime goes down.
There comes the Diva Bomb, but hammer down! ends up taking
One from
down
one.
Godless Goose, but Feinstein takes down Senor Lobo. In return, Solik gets the tackle onto Dwarfnik as the Transcendence ends up getting popped by Nug, trying to keep the team alive as best as possible, but it's not going to be enough. Here comes the charge in from Feinstein, but gets taken down by Pacifist. 30 seconds on the clock. Objective 1 still yet to be taken as we now see Senor Lobo whipping in as the Hammond. I don't hate to say it because I love going to map 5s, but I'm thinking we got a map 5 coming on right now.
Yes, G-Sosu is already over to the side, having to wait that 10 seconds for the remech, and that's going to put him back in right at overtime. So let's see if they can get the picks to try and even this up. Earth Shatter!
Fat Shatter comes in, but the Transcendence from Vega looking to save the day as Hamika takes down Nug. Out Shatter in return allows Solik to take down Feinstein. Diva Bomb in the backline gets Pacifist. Not a good place to be, but they've got the ult advantage right now as the rallies get popped out on either side. Solik gained the double kill on Opham and G-Suspend. They're continuing to fight for control of the objective as the minefield going down, overtime ticking away. We're going to 5! Woo!
We might actually see a reverse sweep. I don't think I've ever seen a reverse sweep ever.
Play of the game.
Oh my gosh. Solik, how many Earth Shatters did you get that round? Ooh.
They were fat. They were some fat shatters. Boom!
Oh my
and
gosh,
that's another one. Quintuple kill.
Got everyone except the Sombra. Very, very nice job.
Oh, well, nobody's going to be yelling at Salt Lake right now. Even if they do lose, I gotta say, they are quite a spicy right now. And we could be seeing kind of what we see like in other games as well, where it comes down to like warming up and whatnot. So if Burning Blossoms isn't a team that warms up, I don't know if they are or aren't.
Warms up.
They could have been getting warmed up in the first half, and now this is their second half, like real. This is what we got kind of going on.
Yeah.
I mean, they were 7-3 in the season, so they're not bad by any means. So map 5 already decided will go to Nepal for a control tiebreaker. Now note, CGC Sunstone did take both objectives rather quickly in their favor. Burning Blossom did get 50% on the first objective, but didn't get a single tick, I believe. Or no, they did end up capturing it there at the end, but it was not enough. So let's go ahead and see if they have what it takes. Start blowing up the chat with who you all are rooting for this evening as we head to our final map, Nepal. I gotta get Zend, baby. I gotta get Zend.
Oh boy. Something to keep in mind though is Nepal, of all control point maps, is the kind of map set where you can run a lot of stuff that isn't goats. Goats isn't necessary on these maps.
I agree, but it's not that we don't see it though.
That's true. So really, I think what Burning Blossom does is you just run what you're comfortable with and just try and do your very best in that area. Because right now you're playing for the hopes and dreams of all the underdogs out there. You're playing for the home crowd. So reverse sweep, first I've ever seen if it happens. It's going to be very, very interesting.
It's very rare that the reverse sweep happens, but it does happen. And we'll be seeing it firsthand this evening. Will Burning Blossoms take away this victory and go on to face Pachymari Ninjas in the semifinals, or will CGC Sunstone lay the hammer down and bring themselves to a victory here and face Pachymari Ninjas in the semifinals? It all comes down to this, folks. So let's go ahead and see what these teams are going to bring to the field. It looks like we've got a 2-2-2 coming out from the Burning Blossoms and a Snoke composition coming out from the side of CGC Sunstone. Point unlocks in 25 seconds. Let's see what happens. Go ahead.
Both teams do definitely have a MABE coming into this, which is something to be watching, which means the defending team will most likely have an advantage. But moving in here, that might not matter because it's no defending team.
Pacifist's going to get taken down first, but Hamika gets Feinstein as well as Solik taking down Dwarfnik. It's a 4v5 fight on the objective as they're moving their way in. The Maywa blocking their path as Amika takes down G. Sussman, kind of bobbing outside the objective, and it looked like it was going to end up going for a moment anyway to the side of Sunstone, but we're going to see Burning Blossoms currently on fire right now, taking the objective in their favor, 5% and climbing. Rin in the chat saying, coming up big when it counts.
Exactly. And you'll see Hamika almost at that Death Blossom, which is what you're going to be looking for. Especially now that Sunstone has switched to a couple more squishy heroes with that triple DPS. So that's definitely going to be something to look at versus this 2-2-2. So the 2-2-2 will have a little bit more sustainability, especially with that Zarya Reinhardt combo. But the damage coming out, splash damage especially from Nug on the Pharah, and the shield burning capabilities of Endless Goose's buffed McCree and Opham's rapid arrow, it's going to be very, very, very difficult to break.
Oh, that's not a good place to start. That triple DPS is going to be enough to shut this down 50%. And it looks like we'll be seeing CGC Sunstone go ahead and grab this in their favor at the 56% mark and start their climb up to 100% as well.
Now about 56%, or exactly 56% for Burning Blossoms, and they've got a bunch of ultimates coming on here. I think it's possible we might see an old-fashioned Beyblade coming out from Hamika and Vega, which would be very nice to see. Especially after all the goats that we've been having. Very nice to see an old-fashioned Beyblade coming out.
I have not heard that term in a long time.
Yeah.
I've not heard that term in a long time. Here comes the beat drop in from Pacifist. Vega ends up getting taken down by the barrage. Here it comes. Beyblade, let it rip. Takes down Nug as Hamika gets taken down by Godless Goose. Pacifist gets Fine Star. The rest comes in for Nug. As the Shatter and Graviton come in, but a Dragon Strike cleans up Pacifist as the Blizzard comes out, ends up getting Nug on the objective. Pacifist will end up taking them out, but Godless Goose will take down Pacifist in return. 4% rather, for the side of Burning Blossoms, and without the fight actually won, we will see that switch right back over to the side of Sunstone.
Goats is going to be coming out here with another 25% just about put onto the clock. Here comes the High
Noon, the highest, ends up taking down the shield and gets Vega in return as they move into the objective. They're looking to try to at least claim it as their own, as Sussman ends up falling Senor Lobo. Nug taking down Solik. Here comes the barrage once again, ends up taking down Past Spies with the help of Opham right there. 64% and climbing right now. Looking into the chat, Polly Dangerous saying Rapid Arrow, also known as Storm Arrow. Hey, don't give our streamers some guff there. I tell you, this job is really hard, and when you get a little brain dead by the 5th map, Rapid Arrow's kind of all that comes out sometimes.
Oh, 100%. I'm surprised it said Rapid Arrow, not just Blue Arrow.
I'm surprised you didn't say Scatter Arrow, to be honest.
I was so close. I said that before, I swear.
Scatter Arrow. Wait, we haven't seen that in a while.
Wait, what patch is my brain on?
What patch is this? Beat drop coming in from Pacifist. They're sticking with the composition. Here comes the Dragon Strike and the Barrage takes down Solik as Nug gets the kill on Pacifist. Opham following up on Hamika as Pacifist falls to Godless Goose and gets the DMAC on Senor Lobo. The Primal ends up pushing him in the corner, taking down Vega and Senor Lobo. And objective 1 with 100 to 74% will go to CGC Sunstone.
Score.
Oh, very, very close. Back and forth. But I think really when they lost it was when they transferred over to the Goats, because they knew that could be effective. But I don't know if they were 100% confident on that. But that being said, we will be most likely seeing this Pharmacy combination come back. Maybe not the Mercy, it looks like. But the Pharah seems to be coming in here. There we go. Vega on the Pharah, Vega on the Mercy this time instead of the Pacifist combo.
Oh yeah, because you gotta have Pacifist. You gotta have the other Pacifist on the Lucio because they got that Reddit.
Oh, stop changing it up. You're making me look stupid. Again! Oh my god.
How many pacifists does a pacifist have to be pacifist if a pacifist?
Easy. None of them show up.
None of them show up?
Yeah, that's how you do it.
None of them show up to the payload, which is all Overwatch games ever. But All right, well, we've got
Ooh.
triple DPS against the basic Roadhog Orisa comp that we usually see on a map like this. Vega getting the res on to Pacifist, Senor Lobo and Solik, and Hamika getting pick after pick on the objective. It's all lighting up red right now as Burning Blossoms go ahead and take objective C, or rather Sanctum, in their favor and start that percentage climb.
Now look at Salt Lake's ultimate. The one thing that you can really do to deny that is either invest in EMP, which they no longer have, or invest in Transcendence, which they're nowhere near. So they're going to have to hope that Salt Lake either botches it or waits to use it until G. Sussman has his Transcendence, which is very unlikely. Otherwise, it's pretty much going to be a one fight if he can do it properly.
That is true, and he's getting ready to come up onto it as well. The hack comes in onto Nug in the backline by Senor Lobo. It looks like we've got Stinky Cheese in the chat from Omamar for Blossom, Here comes the minefield, separating out the team. And it will take out Fine Star, but Opum takes down Senor Lobo. Godless Goose following up on Pacifist. The res comes in for Pacifist. Also taking down Dwarfnik with the minefield. Fine Star just did not get them all. But Nug will take down Pacifist, swapping over to the Soldier 76 as Amika takes down Godless Goose. Opum with the whole hog ends up taking down Solik as Amika takes down G. Sussman. Opum ends up getting hacked and ends up taking down Senor Lobo, not being able to hold on to the objective right now. It is Mercy and Lucio, Vega and Pacifist, but Vega gonna end up falling to Dwarfnik. As we see now, Solik back in the fight, 78% and climbing right now is Nug getting the double kill onto Pacifist, and Godless Goose ends up taking down Solik, 84%, 85% to 0, as we now see the climb start for CGC Sunstone. Knights of Eurasia is saying in the chat, Hamika George.
Now, the 85% mark is traditionally what people consider to be the life or death mark. Once you get there, statistically, you will be winning. You'll be winning that map. But it's entirely possible for it to go either way here.
Here comes the barrage, but the Tran's not in the right place. Nug is able to save the day, though, by taking Pacifist down. The minefield comes as the res comes in for Pacifist. Amika and Senor Lobo fall to G. Sussman and Nug as Opum Ore with the whole hog ends up taking down Vega. The Tac Visor comes down, allows Pacifist to get taken down by Nug. Salt Lake does get at least one kill in the fight, but will end up getting hooked to their death by Opum.
A lot of ultimates thrown in there. But Amika has switched off and so has Pacifist, so both of those make sense. Salt Lake already up to about 50% on that minefield, which is, I cannot stress how important it is if you can use it properly. Vega coming up on their only real support ultimate. J. Sussman, though, with the kill.
Ooh, ends up getting Salt Lake early on. Senor Lobo trying to get that back cap right there as Opum ends up taking down Hamika. And that's the thing, that's always the thing with playing a Sombra, is that Sombra is always going to be working in your backline. And so it's always going to be a 5-on-6 fight. So you got to make sure that you have that ability to be able to hold it. And it looks like Salt Lake going to end up doing that as they swap on over to the Orisa for this fight, knowing that they need that shield. Salt Lake gets the pull onto Nug, ends up sending them to the bottom of the well as the High Noon comes out for Godless Goose, takes down the shield, but not much of anything else. The Halt looking to get somebody as Godless Goose takes down Senor Lobo in their backline, 94, 95%. Climbing for CGC Sunstone. Will they take it away, or will Burning Blossoms bring it back? G. Sussman, the only one left with the ultimate on the objective as they take Dwarfnik and G. Sussman lighting up the side of the Burning Blossoms. And I hate to say it, but it looks like we will be seeing CGC Sunstone walking away. Won't be seeing that very last match. I was hoping that we'd see that reverse, that 1-1, that very final tiebreaker of tiebreakers. But nope, they weren't going to let that happen. Dwarfnik taking play of the game on the Brig. And that's definitely a character you want in a close area like this. And that is literally what saved the game, it seems.
Definitely. Very, very much a good performance coming in from both sides, really. Very impressive, almost reverse sweep for Burning Blossoms. job. But in the
Mission
end,
accomplished.
I think that the Sunstone State taking it away is probably what was going to happen, and really they deserved it. They did a very, very good job there.
Yes, they did. It was a very close game between these two. The score does not do it justice, but CGC Sunstone, you're moving on to the semifinals against Pachimari Ninjas, the undefeated champions of conference number 2 for the Diamond Division. So I hope you're ready, because this is taking it back to week 1, where CGC Sunstone went up against Pachimari Ninjas and went 3-1. So let's see if 12 weeks of improvement, as they have won every other game since then, will prepare them for the matchup against Pachimari Ninjas coming either sometime this week or next. Start blowing up the chat with who y'all want as your player of the match this evening. And Platinum, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
I'm going to have to go with Nug. I'm just, as we're sitting here, I'm looking at his player profile. Very, very diverse. And quite frankly, he flexed onto a lot of positions. He played Brig and he played Widowmaker on Numbani, arguably the biggest threat from Sunstone on Numbani. He also played a really mean Pharah, so he was never a player to be taken lightly. I think that he's got to be my player of the match.
I think I'm going to have to swing it to Godless Goose, actually. During the entire game, Godless Goose was putting out an immense amount of damage on the various DPS roles and heal roles that they were playing this evening. So Godless Goose, you're going to walk away with my player of the match. I do want to give an honorable mention to Salt Lake, though, because Salt Lake was pulling off some fat shatters in those 2 comeback matches. So Salt Lake, you'll get my a little honorable mention for this evening. So start blowing up the chat with who y'all want your player of the match to be. It looks like Mark of Age Ore saying salty literally the entire stream. Salty. And it looks like Nug in the chat saying we haven't scrimmed for like 2 months. so flexing a little bit, just like, oh, we haven't like done anything. Okay, whatevs. But it looks like Killed by Spade gonna give their love to Nug. Azar saying Nug and Salt Lick were the carries on both teams. I have to agree with that at some
Killed by Spade
point.
agrees.
Killed by Spade agrees, as well as Vega coming into the chat. Y'all did a phenomenal job. Dream Duck saying Nug is boosted. For sure, says Nub. All right, folks. Well, that's going to be it for us this evening. Let me go ahead and pull open the schedule for the rest of the week. It is packed with matches right now. It's almost like we're back in the regular season now that we actually have stuff going on.
Yeah.
Tomorrow evening, we will be seeing Hanamura Hellhounds versus the Lost Coyotes, which should be an interesting match. I believe that's semifinals for Platinum Division.
Yes, I believe so.
Currently, for Friday evening, we have scheduled the postcast of Thanks for Scrims Esports versus the Pepegas for Diamond Division as well. So you'll be able to see how Thanks for Scrims was able to bring that back. Saturday, you'll see Night Wolves versus Nebula Phoenix, another semifinals match for Platinum, and our first I believe it's Grandmasters, if not Masters match, Expandable Syndicate versus the Raging Cajun.
It's going to be
our
extraordinarily
Sunday match,
fun.
which is not what we usually do. So we will see how that goes down for this week. We hope that you hit that follow button at the top of our screen. We also hope you hit that subscribe button and support our community. With that being said, that's it for us here at the Rose League. Want to thank First Night of Me for being our producer tonight, coming in clutch as always. I've been Captain Jack.
I'm Platinum Thistle.
And we'll see y'all next time.
Oh, you make me wanna talk back to you. Say it like that. If I hate you, then find someone new. Baby, but you know choke you down just like a pill. Oh yeah. Take you like a pill. Fill you like a pill to get my fill. No, do me in the worst way. Don't let me sleep, never say you're sorry. Oh, maybe I'll leave, baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a